to McDonald. Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have a great show. Chris Frangiola is going to be here just a little bit to cover all the juice that happened in Las Vegas at the sold-out live Juicy Scoop and all the latest things that are going on in the world, pop culture-wise, that you're going to want to know about. But first, I want to cover some of the stuff that's happening in the Housewives world, okay? Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Reunion Part 2. Kathy has arrived, and it's going to get even juicier. The previews coming up on Wednesday is where Kathy then says to Lisa Rinna, yes, did I lose my shit and have a rant with you in the car? But you said you're preaching to the choir, meaning, and Lisa looks did Lisa participate in the shit talking? And then Kathy, like I always thought, Kathy probably thought, okay, I'd send her that text. I talked shit, take it to the grave. No bueno, let's not talk about it. And then Lisa Rinna decided to keep talking about it on air, airing it out, causing problems for Kyle, whatever. The Fox Force 5, which is Dorit, and it's Dorit, Lisa, Erica, and Kyle, who call themselves that, who always have their group text, which has really divided the current cast between them and Garcelle, Sutton, and Crystal, and Kathy Hilton. They are now supposedly, that's fizzled out and people are not contacting each other. And that's because I think the latest thing that happened this weekend, this is from Bravo Ducking Bravo. Wait, what is it? Bravo Ducking Bravo is a great Instagram account. And this came out on many different Bravo accounts. So I'm going to address where I was sent stuff and everything. There is an account called woke_stan. And the person's name is Batty. And they're on Twitter a lot and they post a lot. And it appears what their posts are very pro Rinna. They're a huge Lisa Rinna fan. And so some genius Bravo hacker did their work, and they believe that Lisa Rinna allegedly is behind this account. Now, she has corresponded with this account. Erica follows this account. Erica's corresponded with this account, and it's very pro Lisa Rinna, Erica. And so and she even, Lisa Rinna, made the mistake, and I believe she would even say it was a mistake because I think she removed it, to repost the latest message from this Twitter account that said, oh, really? Kathy Hilton's calling me the biggest bullet in Hollywood, says the mother who sent her daughter to be kidnapped in the middle of the night, meaning Paris, to be abused at one of these schools. And it said raped. Okay. So that people did not like that she reposted that awful message from this supposed Twitter account. I mean, it is a Twitter account. So people are wondering, is she possibly behind it? Other people are like, this is a 58-year-old woman. She would not know how to do this. She would not know how to get another account. But then they're like, oh, the coordinates of this account show that it was in this geo area of Los Angeles. And I'm like, that's a really far stretch for me too. I don't know. I've not talked to Lisa Rinna. Lisa Rinna has not made a statement whether it's her or not. However, if I was Lisa Rinna and I definitely wasn't behind this thing, I would come out and be like, look, did I correspond with a kind of nasty person on Twitter who happens to be a fan of mine? Yeah, that's what I do. It's like, and she's just so happy to have a fan. And I probably regret posting anything really nasty, but I'm very impulsive. And I was like, wow, that was a good point. Yeah, why is Kathy Hilton saying that about me? That's what I think she should do. If I was in her position, I'd be like, yeah, I didn't think about the implications of how wrong that was to do to Paris, how wrong that was to do to victims of sexual assault. I just thought, oh, well, that was a good point that this person made, and I reposted it, and I regret it. I think that's what she should say. However, I believe she has her iconic eye kit coming out either today or tomorrow, so she doesn't really, maybe, I don't know what to do. Apparently her PR person dropped her. But what I think happened, because the same account also is a huge fan of Real Housewives of Atlanta, in which she's a fan of only half the cast as well. And so I'm like, I just don't think that Lisa Rinna is writing every one of these remarks And then also on the side, watching Real Housewives of Atlanta to this extent. So that's why I don't think she's behind it. But has she probably been corresponding with this person behind the scenes and reposting? Possibly. But the Bravosphere like went crazy thinking that this is the case. So I just want to share it with you because I just kind of find it all fascinating. Also, I want to say, early in the season, I don't even know if it was this season or not. It seems like it's going on so long. The problem with her being pissed at Sutton, and you remember when she got really dramatic at that one party at Dorit's house at the Homeless Not Toothless event? Oh, so it was this year. And she's like, I'll drop it when I fucking want to drop it. And everyone's like, geez, where did that come from? And she's screaming at Sutton about the Elton John event. Okay, this is what I think really happened with the Elton John event, because I really didn't even understand it until I thought about it in my head last night in the jacuzzi. I think Lisa Rinna has been going free with Harry Hamlin to the Elton John Oscar party, as well as many other events that a normal non-celebrity person would have to pay a large amount to attend, like a Sutton, okay? And I think, so she was already going to go. She'd gone in the past, and maybe she hadn't reached out to her contact to secure her free tickets yet. This is just me thinking in my head. This is just my opinion, all right? And then Sutton is like, oh, come to our table. So she's like, sure. So then she went and sat at Sutton's table and never paid for the ticket or never said thank you for those tickets because she's gone all these years in the past for free anyway. And it was Sutton was lucky to have her at the table. But I think she didn't want that revealed that a lot of people, face celebrities, go to these fancy charity events and they do not pay. Their gift is their presence. Their gift is that now the person hosting it can say, don't you want to come next year? Look at all these celebrities that took photos and look at all these celebrities that posted about it. And maybe some of those celebrities that didn't pay the $10,000 ticket might also do an auction item and spend $30,000. So in the end, it works like that. But I think that was where that whole thing got mixed up, because in case you didn't know, that's how it works with charity events in Hollywood that are at a level of like face stars, pristine. It's not just like a bunch of rich doctors. It's like, oh my God, I want to go because I'm going to see Lisa Rinna. I'm going to see this person. Elton John's going to be there. So me, Sutton, not being famous at the time, who's just a rich woman who wants to be, like, I almost feel like Sutton knows like a peripheral of famous people, and she has for a while. Like she's best friends with Jennifer Tilly or whatever. And she kind of reminds me of when Kris Jenner, before Kris Jenner became Kris Jenner, and she was just, at the OJ trial, and it was, her dear friend that was murdered. And and when I knew her, she always had like a peripheral group of friends that were like Sugar Ray Leonard and all this stuff. And so she was kind of always hanging out with like a fringe of famousness, but she wasn't really famous in her own right. She wasn't being like stopped at a restaurant. I kind of feel like that's sort of what Sutton is too. So anyway, just put that analogy together. Thought I would share. Okay, now let's move on to the controversy about Ramona Singer. What happened with Ramona? So Ramona was on Carlos King's podcast, and he talked about it on my show, which we did the live stream, which was great. Thank you for getting that. We'll do it again. I don't know when, but I'll do another one. But the show that I did in New York, he said, I'm going to have her on, and it's real juicy. So I caught a lot of it, and basically she explained that Ebony, who was on the show, who made accusations about her making racist remarks, which she said there was an investigation, and it was proven that there was no proof of it. But by that time, so much time had passed, and then we didn't do the reunion, and now we're all fired. And she's like, and you know what? We're like the losers. We're like, what are we going to call it? The legacy losers? No, I don't think we're going to have a legacy thing. And I thought that was really interesting, because I'm like, maybe the legacy thing is not coming back, or maybe they're going to wait to see if Luann and Sonia's new show, Welcome to Crappie Lake, is a hit. And if that's a hit, and if everybody is hardcore, I want to see those OGs, then they'll bring the legacy. I don't know. So, but Ebony K. Williams has a podcast, and she went to tell the whole story. And I listened to that. And I'm going to tell you what she said. She said there were 3 occasions in which Ramona said questionable things. But in the end, there were never 2 people that heard it. that could collaborate. Corroborate. I can never say that word. Together, and therefore it was inconclusive. So what Ramona is saying is true, and of course she's going to deny it. So the one is when Ebony got in the argument at Luann's house, and Luann goes, I think you should leave my home. Apparently there was someone who said that Ramona at that point said, and this is why we shouldn't have black women on this show. Okay, that was one. Then I think it was Heather said that. Heather Thompson was there, and she said that, but nobody else could say, I also heard that, okay? The other one was the use of the N-word. And I was like, I needed to hear the context of this. So according to Ebony K. Williams' podcast, she said she and Ramona had that conversation in their living room. And it was, she was like, you don't want to see a woman in the White House, Ramona. Is that true? And she was like really badgering about how Ramona was going to vote. And in the end, they hugged, and I don't really remember. So then Ebony leaves, and they're taking down lights and stuff. Now, Ebony said, after they hired me as the first black woman on The Real Housewives of New York, they also hired more black women and people of color to work on the show that had not worked on that production before. So there were like audio people and camera people and executive producers and stuff like that were also now people of color. So there was one black woman that was there, and she's there as people are taking down the lights. And according to that woman, she said that Ramona said, when I was young, I was, discriminated against, and they would tease me. I don't know if she's Italian or Ukrainian. I don't know what she is, and neither did Ebony. Ukrainian. She's Ukrainian. And so she goes, and the school kids, whatever, would call me this name, and whatever the name was, she goes, it's like the. And then she said the N-word. It's like if you were called the N-word. That's what it's like for my people. So that woman went and shared that with, I guess, higher-ups or HR. But she was the only one, so they didn't have another person to say, yeah, she said it. And I can't remember what the third one was, but the stories got back to Ebony. And so from those stories, Ebony then went to HR, and then they investigated it. And when they investigated it, they could only get that one person heard it. So it was going to be Ramona's word against theirs. There was no recording of it. There was no nothing. But Ebony is no longer a fan of Ramona's. Ebony has moved on. But I think it's interesting. They didn't ask Ebony to join the new cast. They wanted just to start completely fresh with these new New York girls, along with Leah. She was young too. Leah Sweeney, she was not asked. So yeah, I think that the season just put a bad taste in everyone's mouth, and they're like, I don't know. But like I said before, my prediction is that they will keep these ladies around, and they'll just do more of, and bring back maybe Ebony and Leah and whatever, and do more of these 1 week trips, the Ultimate Girls trips, where they can give them a chunk of money and be done in 1 week. That's what I think. Okay, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. By the way, someone pointed out that Jen Shaw on her bio still has direct response marketing, entrepreneur, Polly Proud, which is, I guess, Polynesian, and that she's a public figure. So we're seeing the show, and she is, they're on their trip in Scottsdale, and she's like, I'm getting ready to go to trial. This is before she has done her plea deal, where she has now taken full responsibility and said, I'm guilty of this crime of scamming these people. She says to the girls, I'm going to New York to do I've already done a practice trial, like practice jury selection practice trial with my defense team, so that they can get an idea of how people hearing her case may react. And she said, and my attorney says that I shouldn't get Botox because I look upset. When I am upset, I don't look upset, and that's not going to gain any sympathy with the jury. I thought that was pretty juicy. That they say, don't worry, you're going on trial, and you're pleading your innocence, and you're actually not, and you got to do the crocodile tears. Make sure that you can also frown. Okay. Then she takes off, and the last night of the trip, the girls wear these orange matching pajamas. And Face Reality 16, also a very funny account, posted, okay, but whose idea was to wear this color of pajamas, which, you know, it looks like they're all incarcerated, which I thought was funny, in honor of Jen. The night before, they decide they're going to have a lingerie party because they're going to call it the Garbage Whore Party in ode to Lisa Barlow, who lost her shit with her mic on and called Meredith a garbage whore and opposed her family and has slept with everyone in New York. So they're wearing this lingerie, which I just think is so weird. And I even talked to like one of the producers when at BravoCon, and I go, no 50-year-old women on a weekend with girls want to wear uncomfortable, lacy lingerie that are straight women. Like, nobody's doing that. So you're forcing them to do it. And he basically admitted, yeah, we're suggesting it. I don't think it's necessary, people. I really don't. But then again, I'm talking about it. Heather and Whitney get into it because Whitney says, Heather, you were there when we were talking about how Lisa Barlow gave blowjobs to get her Vida Tequila into restaurants and also gave blowjobs to get really good courtside seats. And Lisa Barlow cries, this isn't true. And Heather's screaming at Whitney going, you may have told me that, but it was never my intention to have it on camera. So whatever. It's a dumb rumor. I met Lisa Barlow. The husband was there. I don't even think she likes to give a blowjob. Anyway, so I don't believe it's true. So they get in a physical fight, and Heather, who's a bigger girl, pushes Whitney. And then to end the night, it gets weirder. Jen Shaw invites this girl that she is her makeup artist by the name of Pussy. That's her name. She's a twerk expert, and she teaches the girls how to twerk on this show. I'm like, this is so embarrassing, honestly, so embarrassing for them. But you know what? I don't know. I'm kind of a hypocrite because I hear I'm like, it's gross, it's sad. And then I'm like, I don't know. I am a little bit jaw dropped, so maybe the producers know what the fuck they're doing. I don't know, but you know, I guess it is pretty entertaining. They do little funny things in it too, the editors. Anyway, now I'm gonna get into it with Chris Frangiola about our crazy Vegas weekend, and we're back with the original favorite, Chris Frangiola, Old Blue Eyes.
Yeah,
thank you for joining me this weekend in Vegas. We had some fun.
It was fun. It was great. I had a great time. I haven't been to Vegas in a long time. Felt like it was a nice Vegas time.
It really was.
Yeah.
It started out, we all met on Friday night. Not all of us. It was Justin, Peter, and I, and you, and Justin's boyfriend, Evan.
Right.
And so you guys came up to the room.
Well, let's take it back
okay.
before that.
Okay.
Because this is the way Vegas, I believe that my Vegas at this point in my life should be done.
Okay.
Is a VIP.
Thank you.
And yes, and you guys had a VIP check-in, which is
a whole private room at the Venetian.
Yes, you go, you see the line of weirdos with their coolers of Coors Light waiting there, and regular gross people check-in. And then you go, oh, look at this, VIP check-in, where you walk in, and it's like a room where a cappuccino machine and blah, blah.
Also, there's a guy that would bring you a glass of wine or champagne if you want it.
Yeah, the whole thing's just great. And so then that's all great. Then I go up to the room, very nice room, like not, Vegas can be 2 levels. It can be that good level, nice room. And my room had a couple steps down.
Like a whole,
into like a living room area.
Yes.
Something you'll never use, but you feel like you have to because you're there 2 days. So you just lay down on the couch, which you never would in real life. But you're like, I might as well.
Right.
And so all that was, we were like, oh, it's going to be a good couple of days here.
Yes.
It's VIP.
Right.
Go on to what you're going to say.
So then I said, come to the room, because I had even a bigger room than you.
We have to go press a special button in the elevator to get to even your floor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So then you guys came up, and we had champagne, and I felt real Deborah Vance, from Hacks. I felt like...
It was very Deborah Vance. I'll say, it was also like... back in the old days, you used to anticipate like that, going up, meeting in the one room, having a, couple of before you hit the town, whatever, Vegas.
Yes, that's what you're supposed to do.
Right,
you're supposed to have plenty of. So then we go out to dinner, and we go to Lavo, and I think they put us out where we could see the strip.
Yeah.
But Chris didn't like that because then no one's recognizing us. We're too out of the way.
I also feel that sometimes when you're put outside, you get the server or the waiters and stuff. As a guy who's a restaurant guy, I don't think they put their best staff out there knowing it's going to be maybe a slower section. So like give it to Jimmy, who's new and can't handle more than 5 tables. So instead of like the inside where it's jamming and though you got your top of the line people in there.
But
it's just a theory.
Maybe, but we danced and everything. Now, right before, at the very last minute, before you guys came, Peter's like, maybe we'd like to see this show called Atomic Saloon, which is also the Venetian. And it's at 9:30. I'm like, well, our dinner's at 8, but maybe if we get there a little early, we can like jam through the dinner. And I mean, that turned out to be so fun. We had fun. It's like in a saloon type of thing. Yeah. It's like dirty, sexy, very gay friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin and Evan we were very close to very good bodies, like spinning and twirling around. Yeah.
Justin and Evan were about one act away from starting to masturbate. Watching it. I mean, they were getting a whole other thing out of it than we were getting out of it. Like they were giant, ass balls and dicks, like right there. It was on cowboys, and
it was very fun. So we took a photo with them and everything, and then we went to one other spot, which is what I like. I like just a bar nightclub within the casino, not a big ordeal, but you can hear some music,
right?
But then you can but you're still not like in a whole situation paying for a table. So whatever that place was, that was good.
Yeah, that was it was like the lounge in the casino.
Yes, and that was fun. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to save myself for tomorrow.
I know.
So we were pretty good. We were pretty good. Probably the best I've ever been behaved in Vegas.
Me too. I couldn't believe it. Like when when it was like 1 a.m., we were all like, all right, we're done. Yeah. I went and played like a couple slot machines for a minute.
I really was like, you go, girl. So then
woke up early, dead, no hangover, nothing, ready to go.
Had a cute lunch with you, and then did the show. And here we are before the show. Brandy and Julie came and had a great show. Thank you to everybody that came. That was great. And then we went to dinner. I did the meet and greet, and I go, you guys go get the table at Tao. We wanted to go to Tao because they were still serving that late, and I knew I'd be starving. So I get there, and it's Brandy, Julie, you. Annie's finishing up stuff, so she's meeting us later.
Right.
And Peter and this very nice guy who was Evan's friend. So Evan, Justin's boyfriend, and the guy had come backstage. They went and saw the show. Right. And so but only he was there. So I'm like, where's Evan and Justin? And they're like, oh, Justin wasn't feeling well, whatever. They're coming back. But they never came back.
No, they told me they would leave. They were tired and they were heading up the room.
So then I was a little bit like, so is this guy just like, I mean, I don't know him. Is he trying to stay the whole night?
Yeah.
Well, listen, Peter was fire. He had a new set of ears to hear all about becoming a captain, great deals that he's found on finding hotels. I don't know what he was talking about. Yeah. I don't know if he was talking about his Ram truck. I don't know what was going on, but he was in heaven to the point, and you were like, oh my God. And I go, you know what? Sometimes I think it must be hard to be married to me.
Well, I think he was a gay guy. This guy was a gay guy. I don't know.
Yeah, he definitely was.
To say,
Yes.
And I thought Peter was they were getting along so well.
I was like,
that I thought Peter was maybe considering, going full gay.
I have been praying for that. I always used to think that would be the worst thing. Now I think it's like the best thing.
Right.
Like a late in life, your husband's late in life gay, and then you actually like who he is with.
Right.
And like okay. Like and then any time if you look back on your marriage and it wasn't perfect, you could always go, it was because he was gay. It was never because I was a bitch or didn't give him enough attention or whatever.
Yeah, everything that ever happened throughout the marriage you could write off to he just wasn't into it.
Yeah.
And he finally figured it out later in life.
I'm not at all. There's nothing I could have done besides grow a dick. Yeah. To have satisfied this person. Yes. So we're good. Anyway, so at one point Peter's so happy. I mean, he's a little buzzed and he's just having the time of his life. And Annie, we're like at a rectangle trial, and Annie's next to me, and Annie goes, do you guys want me to... She goes, do you guys want to take a picture of you guys? And Peter's like, yeah! Well, and so...
There they are. Look at them.
This is the picture. Just Could not be happier. So then
they look like a great couple. I mean, Peter looks like the elderly gay man who's got himself a young...
I don't elderly, let's let elder say. But he's
you know
the
what
daddy.
I mean.
He's the daddy.
Whatever they say in the gay community.
They call them daddy bears.
Okay.
He's a daddy bear.
Sure.
And and this is his husband that's like 15 years younger.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great relationship.
Great. Like, oh my God. So then... I sent this to Brandy and Julie and you after you guys left.
Yeah.
And I just said, thanks for doing the show and coming to dinner. Peter has never been more himself or happier. So then...
when I say goodbye to you that night, I said, I'm ahead out, you go, we got to go gangbang this guy. And we're going to go to bed too.
I'm part of a throuple now.
Right, yeah.
No, so then we go to leave, and we're like the last people there, okay?
Right.
We pay the bill, we take some photos in front of the Buddha, and my feet are hurting. I'm like, done. And Peter's like, no, let's gamble. Let's do some gambling. I left him. I said, just go gamble with your boyfriend. Yeah. Go. And then I went up to the room, I took a shower, and then he came in like 20 minutes later. And then we went to bed, and then we drove home, and the drive home was super easy.
Oh, good.
So I was happy about that.
Yeah, it was all... I'll say this. Thoroughly enjoyed that Tao dinner.
Yes, so
I hadn't been
yummy.
to Tao in a while, and that was great.
It was great.
Like, I don't know if I was starving or what. I mean, I could not stop eating.
I think you were starving, but also it's like, that's like the best thing to eat kind of like that late at night. Yeah, it's better than like a hamburger or anything because it's like still wholesome, but it's like tangy and you're having a cocktail.
Yeah, it was real good.
It was good. But some things were going on in Vegas that, thank God, didn't really affect our show.
No.
Except Kim Kardashian was getting on her jet to come see a live Juicy Scoop.
Yes.
And she couldn't land for her birthday
winds
because
were very
of the
high.
wind.
Yeah.
And I guess she was going to see Usher, but then they had to turn around and they just went to In-N-Out. But there was this other thing that was so funny was they had the big outdoor concert that was supposed to happen.
We Are Young Festival or whatever. Yeah,
I didn't realize it was like an emo thing.
Yeah.
And so that's why when we were walking around the Venetian, I'd see these I'm like, is it Halloween yet? Who is this?
My plane was full of them too on the way from LA to Vegas.
Because then their Saturday night plans were canceled because they couldn't perform in the wind. So they were then at casinos walking around in their weird outfits.
They couldn't. That was supposed to be for My Chemical Romance and Avril Lavigne. It was got a lot of bands from that era,
right?
And so then they were just out there going to, the thing we went to.
I felt so lucky. I never even left the property, so I never walked in the wind, had to deal with the wind.
No, we just saw it from our window. Saw the palm trees at the pool blowing. They closed the pools because of the wind and all that.
So it was all good. Okay, let's get into the latest of Kanye.
Right.
Stuff is happening every day.
Yeah.
Vogue has dropped him.
His agency just dropped him.
Okay, you told me that. CAA just dropped him.
Hot off the press.
It's just Kim Kardashian just met with Ivanka Trump because, of course, Kanye had said the awful things about her husband.
Oh, he did?
The thing, and I am not
because
100%
he's Jewish?
correct.
Is it a Jewish thing?
It's the Jewish thing, and then also in criticizing Jewish people that he has done business with, which is so awful, and to make it like all Hollywood is, it makes no sense. He somehow, I think, I read this somewhere, and you can look it up. I believe that what's his last name? Her husband's name, Kirshner?
Jared Kirshner.
Jared
Kirshner.
Is
Kushner.
like an investor in Skims.
Oh, okay.
And so there was some attack on that. I don't know. Oh. And so they met, and then Kim did a post today, like, any anti-Semitic talk and everything is so dangerous. And then on the 405,
I saw that.
You see those people on the bridge above the 405 in
Kanye
LA.
Was right or whatever.
It had Kanye signs about anti-Semitic remarks and endorsing those remarks.
Yeah, they're doing like Hitler signs.
Really, really awful. And just, and I hate when people think that there's like that there's a small group of people running Hollywood. Like, we've tried to explain how many people can make it and make decisions in Hollywood. And it's like, it's not one group of people like out to fucking get one person. Like, it's really dangerous. It's really awful.
It is interesting. Yeah, because there is the thing. Jews run. My daughter is Jewish. No, it's just so funny. We sent my daughter to a Jewish school, and I'm not Jewish, but she is.
Your wife is Jewish.
Yeah, my wife is
She was raised Jewish.
Yes,
and my Shannon's kids
That's
are
right.
the Goldsteins.
They have the same last name,
but they go to Catholic school.
Yeah,
but being someone who is Catholic, and you grew up in the Valley, and you don't know that it exists.
Yeah,
and then you talk to someone who is Jewish that grew up in L.A. or the Valley. Right. And everybody has a story of how they've gotten hate or discriminated against or something. Like I remember the story with my sister's husband who grew up in Beverly Hills that one time he said they were traveling somewhere and they were in the bathroom somewhere on their way on some vacation or on their way to Sun Valley, Idaho, I think. And as a kid, he saw the Nazi symbols in the bathroom and how like scary that like he was like, what state are we in? Like, I don't want to be in this bathroom. I don't feel safe. And it's just really sad. I don't mean to be, it's just important to say because it's like, I don't think people realize like how awful it is. And that you get someone this powerful and they can turn people to think that that's the truth or something. Yeah. So I think it's good that everyone's making a statement, even if they didn't last week and myself included.
So am I missing
so bad?
I don't know if I'm missing some of the Kanye
There's so much
rants that he's been doing. The last one that I had seen was he said, I'm going to go, I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on
Jewish people. That's what started.
But then I heard, I didn't hear anything after that. Like, what's the latest?
He's just kind of like in interviews, and I'm surmising, kind of doubled down on his thought. He's not taken it back.
Right.
He has been like, because I feel like I've been fucked over in all these businesses.
Right.
In all these businesses and all the contracts that were made,
right.
Jewish people were involved. So therefore, I'm saying this really awful thing about Jewish people in general.
Oh, he's okay. So he's saying Jews run Hollywood, and then I give him. I had heard that also he's mad in some of the write-ups that are about him. He doesn't like that they don't mention that he's also a genius. He said, and that's what he says. Okay. You need to say I'm a genius. You need to say I'm a fashion designer, not just a rapper. So he says the Washington Post wrote an article on him and said Kanye West rapper, and he says that those are the Jews taking away other things,
minimizing what I've done.
What I do. Right, exactly. So
yeah, it's exactly what I'm saying. Like, what a crazy, weird, awful thing to say.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is like, Howard Stern said, don't tell me that he's bipolar because this isn't a sign of bipolar. Like,
right.
And I agree with that too. And for people that do suffer with mental illness, they're like, don't throw me in this fucking sick. Like, I don't have a problem. Like, I'm not. I want everyone when they describe me to also say I'm a delight.
Right.
I want delightful comedian, podcaster, mother, Valley person.
Like a late night funny girl. I feel like that's like to be the one. Late night funny girl, Heather McDonald.
It's like you didn't mention.
Yeah, you'll always be that. Like Howard Stern, I heard him talking about it. He's like, yeah, that's just the way it is. Like I'm still shock jock. And I'm not a shock, anymore. But I don't complain that that's the way they write about me.
Right.
So it was all very interesting.
And then Charlemagne, the God, he said, I don't want to be friends with Kanye anymore either because he talked about when Pete was still first getting with Kim, he's like, you gotta help me out, and Charlemagne's like, Pete Davidson's my friend, and he mentioned him and his 10-inch dick. So I don't know if I've ever told the world that I talked to someone, a very good source, that has seen Pete Davidson's dick.
And what? Yes,
she said it was beautiful and it was quite large. It was big and it was perfect.
Can I say this about that?
Yes.
And I believe he has the body type that lends itself to a dick that
appears bigger
than it is because of the sinewy
thin thighs.
Like
a thinner
like the
person.
hip is thin, tall and thin, like a Tommy Lee. Though that sinewy type of body can lend itself to looking like the dick is bigger.
Long limbs.
Yes. We've all seen the type. The type.
Yes, yeah.
And I feel like that dick, I'm sure, I haven't get a measuring tape out, but sometimes it looks bigger because of that type of body.
Yeah.
Not that
my dad always used to say about a guy that he didn't think was great, whatever, but that like had a hot chick. He'd be like, well, he must have a 10-inch brain. That's what he would say.
It's pretty good.
He also said, I'll always love Kim. I'll always protect her. And she's like, leave me alone. Like, it's my birthday. Taylor Swift supposedly purposely brought out her album because, let me get to Taylor in a minute. But anyway, yes, he says he only feels that he and his ex, according to Page Six, Kim Kardashian, are divorced on paper. During a new interview with Piers Morgan, he says he will love her for life and protect her. And in all these interviews that he's done with Tucker Carlson and Piers Morgan, they're like, and Cuomo, he did one with him.
Yeah, Chris Cuomo, yeah.
They're like, dude, come on, you don't really mean this. They're giving him many chances to explain himself he's not.
But isn't he going to buy his own thing now? He's going to buy like that Twitter and so he could go and rant on that.
I mean,
like, who would go over?
I really think this is it. I mean, of course he's going to still have people that love him, but even people that love him that are like, he was my favorite rapper, are like posting things like, I am done. Like, I cannot, this is just so dangerous and awful. And, but like, she's,
yeah.
All the money in the world. Have to co-parent with that guy for the next 15 years.
You do have to.
What a fucking nightmare.
Right. Yeah. What? 4 kids? So you got to.
Yeah, and the youngest is like 2.
I know. So that's rough.
Yeah.
Like dads out there going insane, and I guess they hear about it or see it or whatever. Who knows? Anyway, I mean, I honestly think the last time the Jews really ran Hollywood. Was when there was a time when Billy Crystal and Richard Dreyfuss were like sex symbols. And that's, like when Harry Met Sally, we were supposed to be like, oh, this guy's a bona fide romantic lead. And
Billy
same
Crystal,
with Richard Dreyfuss. He was like a goodbye girl, and he was like romantic leading man. Yeah. And I was like, oh, those guys are like
Woody Allen.
Like, Woody Allen, exactly. Like they're like 5'6", nebbishy looking guys.
And then you're right. You're watching the show and you're like, I would never found him cute, but God, by the end of the movie, they're fucking appealing.
I know. Like, then that era kind of went away. Now, then of course it had to be Brad Pitt and Harrison Ford, whoever. Right. But there was a time there where you could really go to a romantic movie and you could lust after Billy Crystal.
I remember thinking Billy Crystal in the one about where they went to the ranch.
Yeah, City Slickers.
And I was like, my God, he has the tiniest waist.
He's
really
tiny,
skinny.
Really and then he was in movies where he was like beating guys up. There was a movie where he was like a cop with Gregory Hines running scared. And he was like beating dudes up, and he was like an action star. Yeah,
so we'll see what I mean, every day it's something. Everyone's, here we are with Vogue spokesperson told Page Six exclusively that neither magazine nor its editor-in-chief, Anna Wintour, intend to work with Kanye again. Well, this was a weird fake friendship anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be freaking honest. Yeah. Like, really, you think Anna Wintour was like, let me just, when are you coming over, Kanye? So we can just shoot the shit. Like, she was all into that because it made people buy the magazine and made her relevant again. So yeah, of course she's not.
But I also heard him say that Balenciaga dropped him, but he said that Balenciaga wasn't paying him anyway. He didn't really have a deal with Balenciaga.
I don't know. There's so much between the Gap deal of the stuff in the trash bags, the Balenciaga, and then also the he's mad at Adidas or Nike. I don't even know what's going on, but I feel like nobody wants to be associated with him anymore.
And there's also a lot of people coming out now against Adidas saying, how come you haven't dropped him yet?
Oh, they haven't dropped him yet.
At least not as I've heard in the last couple of hours. They're the only ones still hanging on. But I don't know if they have an official deal with him either.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to drop. I don't know. Whatever. We'll see what happens.
What's your prediction?
My prediction, I don't follow this world. So Kanye to me has always been like, I mean, outside of.
No, but what's your prediction of like where he'll be in like, let's just do a prediction of what, we'll write this down, Annie. And I don't even know. I'm just going to like ask it to pop into my head. Where will he be in 1 year from now?
I think what happens here, and I don't know anything about this type of stuff, but this is a guy who needs some sort of medication. And I think they're going to get him on it. They're going to get him in some sort of program. They're going to get him in the therapy that he needs. And he's going to have he'll come out to be, I'll apologize for everything he's doing in the last couple, because it's happened a few times before. Remember the rants at TMZ and all those weird things he was going through? Then he comes back. I'm normal again. I'm good. I'm smiling. And then it's crazy again. So this will be that. They'll put him on whatever they need to put him on to even him out, and he'll be back.
I also feel like at this point, it's irresponsible for anybody to do any more interviews with him.
That's what a lot of people say.
Like, just don't. I don't care how thirsty you are, Chris Cuomo or peers. Like, no more interviews.
Yeah.
And, like, let him so that he goes away. And then I think a year from now, he will have another girl in his life, and she'll be having his baby. Wow, that's a good one. Mm-hmm. And I agree. You know what? I should have said that one. Damn it. Well,
that's a good
we'll see if I'm right. Okay, did you hear about all this juice with Kylie and Travis?
There's another girl. I'm hearing there's another girl.
Yes. What is her name? That hoe over there, Ro? She has a name. She has a name.
Oh, so I was. Oh, I had the
name.
wrong. I had the wrong Kardashian.
So
I read Kardashians and Travis, and I thought it was Travis Barker.
No, so Travis Scott is the father of her two kids, Stormy, and the one that we still don't know the name of.
Oh, isn't it? Didn't they say it?
Oh, her name is Roisin Carr, but she goes by that sweet Ro.
Oh, she's the real
other names. Yeah, but she's not like a rapper or anything. But that
Instagram model.
That sweet Ro, like that sweet hoe or something. I don't know.
Okay.
So I've watched a bunch of stuff on that. And there has been social media evidence for 10 years, one sweet Ro. Oh, young sweet Ro is what she calls herself.
Got it.
And she's like a pretty girl. Pretty brunette girl. I think she might be of Persian descent. She's curvy. She's pretty. And there has been videos and people have put together internet evidence that Travis Scott has really kind of been with this girl on and off for 10 years. Uh-huh. And that they've been in the same locations together. He would post something, I'm in, in like a snowy place. And then if you're following her, about a day later, she's in a snowy place. Oh. And what came out over the weekend is that she came forward in a TikTok or something and was like, I'm sick of this shit. I've done what I'm supposed to do. And I'm tired of I've done everything this family has told me to do.
Like what family? Kardashian?
Yeah. To not reveal it. Oh. And because he was he did a post this, some crazy shit's going on at the internet. And it's not true. And making her look to be like a freak. And she's like, I'm not. We have been together for 10 years.
Right.
So then other people are like, oh my God, Kylie's kind of the other woman because Kylie, the first time they were ever photographed together, Kylie and Travis Scott was at Coachella 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And according to them first getting together, it appears that Stormy was conceived within 2 weeks of them hanging out. Oh. So it's people are sort of defending this girl. How would you feel? She was on and off for all these years, but apparently she's okay with him having kids with Kylie. Now, one thing that Kylie did, which I thought was brilliant, was she did this article for W Magazine, this beautiful photo shoot with the two of them in it when she's pregnant with with the youngest boy. And in it, she says, we are not monogamous. We are committed to being a family. Mm-hmm. But we are not monogamous in a traditional marriage way. Right. No one saw that article because it got scrapped right after Astroworld. Oh, it was supposed to come out within weeks after Astroworld. But some people grabbed it and some people wrote about it. And I always thought that was kind of interesting because I'm like, she's smart. I didn't know that at that time, I didn't know that there was this other girl that's been in his life for 10 years on and off. But I was like, I think she's smart in that she's like, I'm going to get ahead of this. Mm-hmm. Because chances are there's going to be other women.
Yeah.
And I might not care because I want to have him be the father of all my kids. And I enjoy him. And I don't mind that we don't live together. They're like, oh, they don't even live together. Well, a lot of people don't live together. Right. A lot of really rich people are like, you have your house over there. I have mine. This is great. Right. Whoever decided everyone has to sleep in the same bed every night and share the same house, probably wasn't that rich.
Yeah. Well, I want to confess now that we have a room with a pull-out couch that I got at Living Spaces. And there are times when I go in there and it's the greatest.
And it's not because you're fighting.
No,
it's
no,
like
not at all.
It's like I might want to wake up and like listen to TikTok or read a book or like go get up and not have someone be like, could you turn off the light? Like there's times where you just like want to be alone. Yeah. And if you have that extra room, it's fucking great.
Are you in? Do you have an extra room?
We do have an extra room.
No, which one?
It was Mackenzie's old room.
Who goes, Peter or you? Who leaves?
Peter, because he knows how to work that TV. I don't. I only know how to work the TV in my room.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah. And I think it's like I think people, it's like, oh, you know, when people would say, my parents slept in separate rooms, and you're like, oh, that must be, like, I think that's going to be the new thing that people finally start to, like, admit to. Yeah. Because it's like, go think about what a better sleep you have.
Oh, yeah, and also, yeah.
When there's nobody in your bed, no kids in your bed, no dog in your bed, you will sleep so much better alone. Yeah. But anyway, getting back to this, I think that she was kind of like, I think she was being honest, and I think she was also like, I don't want to have the same shit that's happened to like Chloe and like, right? Because these men cheat, and these men have other women in their lives. I know I'm the top dog, and I really don't care. Yeah. But now that this is out there, but yeah, so I mean, Page Six did write something saying that Travis Scott picked up the phone to shut down, meaning the phone that he wrote on Instagram, to shut down claims that he hung out with this rumored ex-fling. So that was the whole thing, is that people were saying he was just with her like within the last few days because of some video shoot that they were both at. And
it's always interesting to me when people are this high profile, like this guy, Travis Scott, and how they can possibly carry on like that, because everywhere they go, somebody would take their picture. Like, just look at your Juicy Scoop page on Facebook. Yeah. Anytime anyone is at a place where there's a housewife or something, they'll post a picture of that person on your face. Yeah. Like, how I don't understand how any of this, they can do any. I guess they have to be real covert about it to get it right. They can't go to a supermarket together.
Well, then, so I mean, yeah, and I guess this girl was fine carrying on with him all these years, and while he's having babies with someone else. I mean, what does that say about you? I guess you're fine with that. But I mean, now it's like, well, now that it's kind of been out there, like, well, it's not like she's going to accept him seeing this girl anymore. So either they're going to stay together and he's never going to see this girl again because now they're pissed at each other, and she should be done with him if that's the way she feels.
Is any of this just this hypothetical or whatever? Yes. Maybe I'm being a conspiracy theorist here. Is any of this like just kind of scripted by Kris Kardashian? Like we have to have a drama here. Like, you don't have, because literally every single one of them in the family now has had some sort of crazy drama. Even Rob has had the Black China stuff. Right. So every one of them, not one of them is in a normal, this is great. We're having a great time. What a wonderful relationship. Not one. So it feels like now it's getting to the point where, all right, this feels like they want the drama to sell lipstick.
I can see why you're saying that, but no, I don't think they would want this.
So they're that unlucky in love that every single one of them has had a gigantic fuck up.
Because of the people they choose. They want this high profile guy. They want a guy is not coming from to be honest, not coming from a two-family household where the dad and the mom have been together for 60. I mean, the thing is,
but that doesn't. Yeah, I mean, there are people who come to a household.
I know that's what I'm saying, but I'm saying like, they're choosing people that, and also just this generation and everything. But it's interesting that they're never the cheaters. Like, that's, I mean, it would be juicier if all of a sudden we're like, Kylie had like a side dick this whole time. I think you might have just given
Chris a good script for the next one. Yeah, that now, exactly. I mean, that's
like,
a good call.
See, yeah, like, why isn't the girls ever cheating on somebody? Like, did Kim ever cheat on Kanye? It doesn't appear to be. Mm-hmm. Or if they did, they would maybe know how to cover up. I don't know, but that's never the case. Yeah. And but Kris did. Kris wrote about it in her book. It's not a secret that she cheated on their dad.
Oh, on
Robert, and it's like the biggest regret of her life.
With Bruce?
With this young guy. He was like 10 years younger than she. She was like 32, and he was like 22, and they met, and she had already had all 4 kids. Right. And we just kind of had like a early midlife crisis. It was like out with this guy. And then when Robert found out, he was like, we're done. Like, he gave her one chance, and then he found her again with him. And then he was like, we're done. And then, and then he was really gonna like, he was going to be very harsh about the life that she was currently living.
Yeah.
He's like, you will not have this life since you cheated on me and all this stuff. And then when she got with Bruce, then Bruce is like, finish this divorce, stop this fight. You only need to give child support. We don't need your alimony.
Yeah.
And so then they kind of settled it all, and then they all became like friends again. And they were like Robert was friendly with Bruce and all that kind of stuff. And they were friendly when the OJ murder happened, and they Bruce?
Still
were, they were friend, like as a family, they were friendly, like when that all went down. So I don't know, maybe there's like a philosophy too of being more forgiving about infidelity for that reason, that you lived through it and everyone was fine after. I don't know.
Right. Yeah,
it's very weird. I mean, it's definitely something that, like, I don't know. Like, some people are never touched by it. Some people are like, my dad was a cheater and I married a cheater. I don't know. It's weird. It's like, I do think it's something, but.
Oh, Kendall hasn't had any drama yet. Has she?
She's like never had any boyfriend that's serious.
Any boyfriends, yeah. But he was a basketball player, right? Yeah. Nobody good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Broke up, got back together. He's not like a high profile. She's like the least like.
Has anyone talked to Chris Humphries? Where did that go? Chris Humphries. What happened to that guy?
You know what? I just saw a TikTok of an old clip of the show where Chris Humphries is with Kim shortly after they got married or they were dating or whatever. And he was like, what about Jonathan Food God? That guy, Jonathan. Yeah. He goes, why isn't he ever with someone? And she goes, what do you mean? He's like, why isn't he with a guy? She's like, why would you assume he'd be with a guy? He's like, well, have you ever asked him what he does like? Because this whole time you've been friends with him, he's literally never had a date of any human kind.
Right.
And she was like, and I think she was being like a good friend in that, but I also think that maybe they've never discussed, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's never been with anybody.
Still, I don't think. Yeah, I follow the Food God. I don't think.
The Food God. I like him.
He loves macaroni and
great.
cheese so much. He doesn't need dick or pussy.
And you know what I do? I think there's people too that, like, well, the LGBTQIA, the A is asexual. I do think there are people that truly, maybe they're sexual, but maybe they never want to be. Maybe they're not capable of having any kind of intimate, personal relationship.
I have
with
several
someone.
family members, distant family members, not my immediate family, that 100% completely asexual, never had a relationship in their lives ever, and they're 70.
And I don't necessarily mean, I don't think maybe they could be gay, but maybe they just they got to so old of a point of never like physically getting with anyone romantically,
right?
That then it's like too hard to start.
Exactly. Yeah, I think you get to a point where you've settled in.
Yeah.
And that happens around whatever time. And, it's like we were saying about sleeping in separate beds. They don't have to worry about that. They're always in a separate bed. So I guess it becomes comfortable.
I don't know. I hope it all works out. It seems like they're happy, and I don't think she wants to get married. I think she loves being a mom. And I think Kylie, and I think she doesn't act like they're super. I mean, she'll show the flowers she gives and stuff, but I think she kind of knew, and that's why she said it in the interview, and that's why I think this isn't like a weird humiliation. It's not like she was gushing every day, I have the greatest boyfriend in the world. She really wasn't.
Right. Is that her?
This is the girl.
Oh man, they all have a type, huh?
Yeah.
They all love that type of girl.
So she posted a video on her Instagram story showing her behind the camera of a set of an apparent music video shoot.
That's just a hat, right? She's not actually
Scott.
the captain of that boat. I don't think she's got a license to be a captain on a boat.
She's wearing a bikini and a captain. No, but she's very, very pretty. She
gorgeous.
looks more like Kim.
Yeah, they all have that
same
look.
They all look like Kim. Everyone looks like Kim. As you know, if you haven't heard, the daycare people who wore the scary mask and screamed at the kids, they have been arrested, and here are their mugshots.
Yeah, exactly who you'd expect. Actually, they looked better with the mask on. This is scarier than when they had the scream mask on.
I mean, I don't really know what do you think will happen? Let's do a prediction of what will happen to these three people. Obviously, they should never work in childcare again.
No, and they also got I think that's a stiff penalty they got.
What was a penalty?
I forgot what it was, but it carries like a 10-year jail sentence.
What they're up for could go up to 10 years.
Yeah, it's not just you can't teach kids anymore. They gotta.
I think what's going to happen is they're going to have so much remorse about it.
Yeah.
That and I think the judge will be like, it's not going to benefit the world. That's what I think, for them to like actually do time. So I think they'll get probation and have to do kind of hardcore, like picking up the trash and like some shitty work that they have to do.
Yeah.
But I don't think, and if they go to prison, it'll be like 30 days.
Looking at these people picking up the trash would probably be just cleaning their living room. You know what I mean? Look what we're dealing with. It was in somewhere in like the South or something, right?
It was in Mississippi.
Yeah.
And, and it's like.
Nothing against Mississippi. Love it. Nice town.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying.
It's also just like really scary that you're like, you know what? Like you're working and you think like the kids are having fun. You pick them up every day. They're clean. They're fed. You're happy. And the owner of the place had no problems and had been the owner for all these years.
Yeah.
But, daycare workers, like, some love it and some come and go. And you're like,
right.
Oh, okay. Like they're changing diapers. They're feeding these kids or playing with them. And they just had a real, what? But you know what? Now that we're heading towards Halloween, I remember that bit that Jimmy Kimmel used to do and then people would do it.
Say they ate their candy.
They'd wake up the kid the day after after Halloween and say to their own kid and film it. And then Jimmy Kimmel would show it. I got up in the middle of the night, I ate all your candy and make them cry and everything. And that's when, and at first it was so funny. And then people started to go, this is really fucked up.
Yeah, no,
like lying to your kid. And it's the reason why some people, there's a new movement of people being like, we don't teach our kid about Santa or Easter Bunny. We don't. Like, so that when they get older, they realize that you were deceiving them for 7 years. Like,
yeah, but let's have a little joy.
No, I'm fine with it.
I agree
but like,
with you. But
it's kind of an interesting concept because you're like, yeah, you're right. I remember like realizing that it was like fake. And I was like, ew. Like I remember going, wait, so, because my mom would like go really hardcore on like the lying. Okay.
Yeah.
And she would do a really good job. Like right before Christmas, the night before Christmas, she'd be like, oh, Bob, I hope you let, I hope you let Santa know that we just redid the floors. And last time the reindeers, he brought the reindeers in the house.
That's a pretty good backstory.
Yeah, my mom, and she would say it when we weren't even like around, like we were like playing something else. So she'd say it to be like, make sure the reindeers don't, did you tell Santa not to let, and I'd be like, wait, what? The reindeers actually came in the house.
Right.
Like, I have to stay awake. I have to stay, just so freaked out. Or she'd come back from the grocery store during Easter. And she'd be like, well, that was the worst.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, the bunny was ahead of me in line checking out all these eggs. And I was like, the one, and she would do it. Like, she'd be like, want to come to the grocery store with me? And I'd be like, always say yes. And then it'd be like the one time I'd say no. And then she'd come back and act like I missed the fucking sight.
Yeah.
And I look back and I'm like, I did fucking torture. Like, imagine you're the biggest, imagine if like, you're like, I was like, you should have come to my house last night. Fucking, I don't know who's your favorite person on earth was there. Yeah. And you're like talk about FOMO. Right. Like she was creating FOMO in me unnecessarily at 6 years old, which is kind of shitty.
That's
but
funny.
My point is like, I think people are just now realizing, and these people probably aren't that sophisticated or highly educated, realizing that like tricking kids and pranking, like all those people that got in trouble of like pranking their kids on YouTube.
Yeah, that's not.
People are now realizing like.
Yeah, I couldn't do that to my daughter, but.
Right.
I'm a normal. I think we found out we were duped by Santa Claus when our next door neighbor, who's like a bit of a mafia gangster or whatever.
Growing up, you mean?
Yeah, his name Clarelli. He had given us some toys, had fallen off a truck, He's like, you guys want these for the kids, for your family. And so Christmas morning we opened, it was like gambling stuff. It was like a roulette wheel and like a card table. And we're like, what are these? Like, we didn't ask for any of this stuff. And I was like, Santa didn't bring those. That's from the neighbor. The roulette wheel fell off the back of a truck, and Santa didn't bring that. So like, oh, okay, so there really is. That's when we first learned about there's no Santa.
I basically found out. So I was the youngest of 5.
Uh-huh.
And I realized that, like, my dad would, since I was the only one that was still believing, that I got so much more attention from him thinking that I was still believing.
Yeah.
That I was still, like, the baby that believed. So even though I pretty much, like, knew, and I remember, like, it was like, I had a grandmother that was living in an assisted living, like a mile away.
Right.
And she had early Alzheimer's. And she was stealing the china from eating food every day at the place.
Right.
And so she goes, oh, bring the boys. I've got all these Christmas gifts, And so, like, I think my mom would write, like, Santa, like, from a bunch of stuff, and she mixed it up.
Yeah.
And so one of the things from Santa was really from my grandmother, and it was like a full set of china.
Just stolen from the place?
Yes. There was a set of china.
Oh, my God. That's great.
Silverware. And then also the mats that you put so you don't slip in the shower or the tub.
Yeah.
Like for
practical stuff. I mean, it was stuff we all need. Wow.
And I'm like, oh, and then I was like, no, it's from Santa, like, because I was still playing along. And my brothers are like, oh, shut up. You don't believe in Santa anymore.
Right.
I was like 9.
That's nice of you. So that's why you're the nicest one in the family. You're still going, Wow. But now I also read, speaking of Halloween, that the candy bars are all smaller this year. First time ever. They're due to supply chain issues or something. They're even like the little ones are smaller than they normally are.
Now they're just all like little nuggets.
Yeah, like little nuggets.
Yeah.
So just to beware, let everyone know.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Hopefully there's no razor blades in it.
Yeah. That's
okay, James Corden, as you know, he was an asshole at this restaurant.
Yeah.
He did an interview and he was like, someone's like, oh, I'm glad you didn't, the guy interviewing him was like, I was afraid you'd cancel the interview. It's like, why should I cancel the interview? Like, this is ridiculous. And then, like, I'm fine. I feel great about it. I feel zen about it. It's done. I apologized. The guy accepted the apology. And while he was doing the interview, some woman at another table had sent back her eggs. And he goes, okay, what if that person was blown up because she, like, sent back her eggs? But of course we know that he's acted really rude. And there were 2 other stories that came out about him. One was that he was on a plane and he sat down next to a woman and a small baby that was a little fussy, and he put on his headphones and just looked straight ahead and didn't complain. And people were actually thinking, wow, that's pretty great. Here's this big celebrity, in first class, and this baby and this woman have to sit next to him, and he was like pretty cool about it. But then at the end, the woman was getting her stuff down and holding the baby, and the baby's crying, and she looked at James Corden and she's like, for fuck's sake, can you help me? And it was his wife and baby.
Oh, so it was his baby.
So he ignored them the whole time.
Right.
And then this was the best one. He went on Reddit 3 years ago asking people, hey, ask me anything, like to do something for his show. And this was the best one that was written. This is from 3 years ago from Wu-Tang Tacos on Reddit. Hey, James, you won't remember me, but me and my friends sat at a table next to you and Harry Styles and some others in Manchurian Legends in London's Chinatown about 6 years ago. We didn't bother you, but you were a massively entitled who yelled and treated the waitstaff like shit. And when one of my party politely suggested you calm down, you got really aggressive and threatening in a chubby way, like a boozy panda. So my question is, why did Harry seem so cool while you were such a massive, throbbing Belind? So there's stories now coming out that he was a dick.
I've heard it before. I've heard it, when the Ellen stuff went down, there was a lot of chatter about
when's he coming along?
Yeah, when is they going to start hearing about it on the Corden show? Because but we know people. I know people who work over at Corden, and I mean, I guess I don't talk to them on a daily basis, and they get a pretty good check over there.
Yeah.
So they probably wouldn't rat him out that way. But
the other thing is, it sounds like he might be really nice to people that work for him or that are his friends, but he might be really awful to just waitstaff. Like, there was another story that came out where this girl witnessed him allegedly going by a restaurant that was closed in the afternoon. Like, they took a little break between lunch. Like, it was like 4 o'clock, so they weren't open for dinner yet. And they were like, oh, sorry, like some busboy or whatever, like, sorry, it's closed. It opens at 5. And he's like, well, how the fuck is that going to help me? And it's like, well, it's not, because it's not about you.
Right.
Like, so I think that, I think he is just very entitled, and I think he might be a dick to wait staff.
I also think
nice
he didn't handle this well at all. He could have totally done a joke about this on his show. He's a comedian.
Yeah.
It wasn't the worst thing in the world. I mean, they said he was a dick at a restaurant. So, I mean, so what? He could have done a whole thing on the show and made it look like fun and light, and it would have been like to go, I'm zen and I don't give a shit is a ridiculous way to handle it.
Right, especially when
late night talk show host.
Who like sings and is like the happiest guy.
Right, exactly.
I also think that he could, you remember when, who was the one that got caught with Divine Brown?
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
I remember he came out on Jay Leno, and he was just like shrugging his shoulders. Yeah. He got caught with a prostitute while he was engaged to another woman. Jay Leno said, what the hell were you thinking? That's how it opened. That's when Jay Leno's ratings went through the roof, and he never went back. Became the late night king forever. And he was like, I received a blowjob from a prostitute.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, he just was like, I admitted it. Like, if he would have just been like, I think
it happened the night before, and he was supposed to be on the Tonight Show that night, promoting Fort Wayne's funeral. And everyone said, you got to cancel that appearance. And he said, no, I'm going to go on and face it. And he didn't cancel the appearance, and he went on, and it kind of went, he still got a career.
He completely won over America,
yeah.
back again. He still got. What would you have said if you were James Corden in this situation? What would you have done? What would you have said? Because you also know that there might be other stories coming out.
Right.
Where you were a dick. This is a negative part of your life. Your wife has told you, people have told you, and you're like, so do you act zen and not care, or what do you do?
No, I would have definitely handled it, in a funny way and said that there might be I might be a dick at times in places, Yeah. We've all had to deal with things, when you're, I mean, not letting him off the hook here, but, there are times when you're checking into a hotel or whatever, you want, you just flew. There's issues. Sometimes you might not be at your best. We've all dealt with it.
Right.
So, I mean, I think you just go at it that way. Maybe it wasn't my best day at Balthazar that day. And, we got French fries instead of salad.
I think you're right. I think also, I think what would have been fun is to have had the staff write a funny musical number.
Right. And do carpool karaoke with the waiters from the show.
Yeah.
There's 1,000 ways you could have handled this that were much better. Yeah.
But I think this really shows who he is. And so the persona that we see that's like this jolly, funny guy, that's not the real him. The real him is this entitled dude.
I also think he is a little bit over being a celebrity because he's done with the show.
He's done with the show.
I don't think he wanted to be as big as he kind of got. And he was like a Broadway guy and kind of new to all American show business when he got the job. And then he became that guy. And I think he's like, I'm a Broadway prick, and I didn't want to be the carpool karaoke guy. But I am now.
Yes.
And I want out. I want back in England, quiet life.
And doing great roles.
Yeah.
Because he said that's why he's leaving. He's like, I feel like if I don't leave now, that because the show's successful and this is what I'm known on, if I don't leave now, I won't have the opportunity to have another chapter in my career, and I want to do another chapter of something different than this.
Right.
But this is not going to help. But, look, he can still, what he should do is do something next that is not singing or cute or anything.
Yeah.
He should do some really gritty, dark acting role to make people go, wow, he's just a fucking good actor.
Mm-hmm. He should play a waiter in a restaurant. Where he has to deal with himself. It's interesting. But whatever. I've never really been a fan. I never liked that show. I don't like the fact that he keeps the guests there.
Yeah.
I think
he keeps the guests there.
He keeps them all say the guest tonight. Jennifer Aniston, Hugh Jackman, and I don't know, Pink.
Oh, you have to stay down the couch?
Yeah, so now Jennifer Aniston comes out first. Then
But Jay Leno used to do that too. You'd have to stay and sort of be part of it. I remember that.
Yeah,
the next person's kind of doing their interview.
You're right. I guess they did do that.
Yeah.
But I like it better like a Letterman way when you knew you were a big time star when you were first guest and I know you got to run.
Right.
But so where you running? Where you got to go? Which is a big deal. But they would go and then the next person would come out, I like it better that way.
Well, when you have a talk show, you can
do that.
Maybe,
yeah, sure.
Meghan Markle now I'm seeing the clip from, so Meghan Markle went on her show, on her podcast and said, her archetype podcast and said about, well, let me tell you the story of, and her voice is so calming, but it's also, the podcast is very much like she wrote out every single line, almost like a book, and then she like reads it instead of just talking.
I know.
And so she's like, well, yes, was I happy to have a steady job as a suitcase girl on Deal or No Deal? It meant I had a place to go every day. It meant I even had health insurance.
Yeah, she goes into a lower register when she does like a joke.
There was budgets for free spray tans and hair extensions and eyelashes. And, I realized that I was being objectified and I'm a bimbo. And so she says, I quit the job. And then they found that she, after that, accepted a very tiny part. I don't even know if she spoke on 90210 of where this guy sees a girl he's dating while he's getting a blowjob from someone else. And then her head pops up and it's Meghan Markle. So like, you're going to take that part, but you didn't want to be like in this outfit or whatever.
Yeah. Here's what I have to say about Meghan Markle.
As
a dear friend. I'll say this, and it's an interesting quality to have.
Yes.
And I didn't realize she had it because I didn't know anything about her outside of actually knowing her a little bit. But then, like, I believe she's one of those people who's completely humorless. And that's like such a terrible way to be. You know what I mean? Like, even listening to her podcast, I've listened to 2 episodes now, and she just has zero humor. Like, even this kind of thing could have been a funny way to talk about it. And even the talking about the life she's currently leading.
Right.
She could have fun with the fact that this is crazy that this is who I am now.
Also, it's like she says, I didn't want to be a bimbo anymore. So then she starts like a blog that's all about like fashion and looks and beauty. When she had that, whatever that thing was, the Meg Report, I don't know what it's called. She's just not, you know what? I think it's like, for me and for you, we're so ourselves and our whole career has been ourselves.
Right.
We don't really realize that, honestly, not everybody's authentic.
I think that's probably true, yeah.
And not everybody that has a podcast should have one. And not everyone is going to be able to keep your interest for 7 years. And not anyone is going to like be able to like just be on it. They're not. I believe that whatever she has created, this image of herself, that is what she believes. She wants to be this highly intelligent feminist,
right?
From the, fighting for UN rights and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But she really isn't. She's a girl from LA that likes fashion.
Exactly.
That wants to eat avocado toast and go to a cool place in Santa Barbara.
I mean, she was like a B-list actress. Like, she was going to auditions like anyone else, like you and I did. And she was like, where's that girl now? And this girl who's like whispering on a podcast about human rights. Like, fuck that. Like, that's not who you are. And if you're going to do a podcast, the best thing about doing a podcast is do what you do, show it all.
Yeah, it's just, it's the same thing. It's like, I just think like, she just doesn't really, it's not really her, but the Netflix show that's about their life, like feeding the rescue chickens and stuff.
Yeah.
They have pushed that back now to 2023 because of all the controversy around The Crown. Like the Crown is supposed to come out, the final, and either they say they don't like the stuff that's in The Crown, but then I've also heard that they're postponing it because
is The Crown going to cover their relationship? Are they at that point of The Crown where they cover them?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really. Yeah, it must be because I remember we've already seen like Diana and stuff.
Diana,
and then I think that. And now they're saying also take out anything that we've ever spoken negatively about the royals. We need to take out, which is super annoying.
Yeah,
because now it's like, so I don't know. I love that she got caught doing that. I mean, there's got to be other things that she did, but it's not that juicy. Like,
no.
Even if we found out that she did like a porn at this point, would we even care?
That would be great.
I know, but like, would it make a big like? Would we be surprised?
No.
If like we found out that she was like on a Cinemax thing, or that she actually tested for Playboy or something, like would it really matter at this point?
No, we don't live in that world anymore. I mean, I'm sure it would in England, but we don't.
And just like that, it's coming back.
When is it coming back? Are they done filming it?
When is it coming back?
Because I heard it was kind of soon.
I thought this was so funny. This is Jamie Lee Curtis acting like she's typing like
Oh
Carrie.
my God. Oh, she's like Carrie Bradshaw.
And she's like,
that's funny.
And as I faced up against Michael for the 507th time, I couldn't help but wonder, will I end Halloween or will Halloween end me?
That's great.
Anyway, what
you know what I'm very excited about this? Not only to Tony Danza.
Tony Danza will be playing Che Diaz's dad in the fictional sitcom. Yes.
So Che Diaz is back. I thought that with all the the blowback that character had gotten, I thought they would have been like, let's say they sent her to California to do a sitcom. They could have ended it there. Oh yeah, she's doing a sitcom. You guys broke up. That's the end of that. But they're going to double down on this character.
I have to say, I would be devastated if I read that they've cut Che Diaz out.
Just for the hate watch aspect of it.
The hate aspect, but I'm like, cannot wait for it. Like, I think I like it now. Like, I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if they cut out like the fact that she's a stand-up and just maybe make her an actress now.
So Jen Kirkman had a very juicy prediction about this thing.
Oh, good. Yeah, Jen loves Sex and the City.
Because Che Diaz, she keeps saying, I'm early in her stand-up because they took like, these writers wrote like the shittiest stand-up for it.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm half Irish, half Puerto Rican or Latino or whatever. What, will you look up Tony Danza's...
Summer of 2023.
Okay.
Far off.
No, that is far off. I thought it was coming.
I believe Tony Danza is Italian. Maybe he's not. Okay?
No, I think he is. I think he's 100% Italian.
But, so Jen predicts that Che Diaz will get backlash in the show, her character, for hiring a guy playing her dad that is not Latin descent. Mm-hmm. And I think that could be kind of fun. If they haven't thought of it, I think Jen Kirkman. Because
that's a good one.
I think that's going to be pretty good.
I would like that. But,
yes.
I forgot what I was going to... I had something good to say about sex. Well, Aiden's back. I heard Aiden's back. That's so... Because I know I was one of the small... I was in the small camp of Aiden over Mr. Big. I always was. I always liked the Aiden character.
I always thought Aiden was better for her as the character. She would have been better for Aiden, but for Aiden, thank God he didn't marry Carrie. She was such a cheating, selfish bitch.
All right, but I liked that character better than I liked Big.
Totally.
And everyone, like Kirkman's and the guys, you guys always were like, no, Big's much better. Aiden was, whatever.
He made the furniture.
Yeah. But then when they met up again in Sex and the
movie.
City 2, I believe it was, he was selling rugs or looking for rugs somewhere in Saudi Arabia.
For his furniture store. Because everybody that has a furniture store has to go all the way to Dubai to go to the marketplace to buy some rugs.
But it was such an exciting bump into him. And I don't know what it's going to be. I think your prediction was he's going to be fully married with kids and it'll be that.
My prediction is that he's married with the kids and she runs into him somewhere.
Right.
And, I did it before. Well, let me think. But let me think. She runs into him and he's separated.
Yeah.
And she starts sleeping with him while she's also sleeping with the podcast producer. So,
I forgot about that.
So then she has she's never, even in her craziest days of being a 30-year-old 20 years ago on the show, she wasn't double dicking it, you know? And so she gets a bad UTI.
Oh.
In the show.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what's going to happen, but then he goes back to his wife. Okay. I think he'll go back to his wife and she's devastated or something.
But that's going to make that character, which he never really looked like a scumbag, look like a scumbag.
No, but he was separated.
I know.
He's separated.
I got you.
He's truly separated, much like a lot of these celebrity couples that are filing and everything and getting back together.
Yeah.
And then he kind of gets her back for breaking his heart when she cheated with Big. Mm-hmm. So anyway.
Is Corbett still with Bo Derek in real life, or is that...
Yes,
they were together forever.
So. The actor, you mean?
Yeah, John Corbett.
Yeah. Anyway, but will Steve be back? Because Miranda is now in a full relationship with Che Diaz, the non-binary human, and will Steve come back? And will Steve show up?
Absolutely.
To talk to Miranda?
Oh no, I don't know if I can get it back.
You don't know if you can get the voice back?
I have to practice that one. Come on, it's very New York, but it's also kind of. Now I sound like. It's tough.
Work on it. Work on it. Jen Aniston. This whole article is out now on People about Matthew Perry and how awful his drug addiction was. He said he spent $9 to $10 million in the last 20 years just on trying to get sober.
12 different facilities he was in throughout the course of his life. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, that's why he's done.
You know what? I'm going to say something and people are going to get mad at me.
Okay. Okay, go.
Okay. I think, you hear about this all the time with these rehabs where people say, oh, it's an average of 9 times before someone gets completely sober.
Right.
They go 9 different times.
Right.
And then you hear about like really wealthy people, they have like a sober companion. Mm-hmm. If you figure out how much money you're spending on going to rehab like 9 times so that you're like in group with people and like, oh, you're a rich person, but you have to whatever, make your own bed.
Right.
And that's going to, I don't know because I've not done it. But I mean, it makes you think, God, if you could just like, if everyone could just have that sober companion, like people should go the sober companion route.
Yeah.
Because then how are you going to use if someone's constantly next to you?
That's what a sober companion is supposed to do? They hang out with you the whole time?
Yeah, they make sure you're not drinking, you're not hanging around with people.
I think a guy like Matthew Perry probably had that too. And you find a way.
Maybe.
Like when you're that addicted as he was.
Yeah.
When you're so addicted, you're like losing your spleen or something. Didn't he say he had to...
He had to have a colostomy bag.
Yeah, for 9 months.
It's a lot of, yeah.
That's a lot of
And
drinking.
then Jennifer Aniston was the only one that was calling him.
I know, but that's kind of a... Like the other people were like, what am I going to do with Matt? Like I was on a TV show with him for 8 years.
I think she was just that. I think she was that girl that like knew to just like be like, "Hey, Matthew, how you doing, buddy? God." And then I think she would call the other girls and be like, "Oh my God, I saw Matthew at the bar. I just happened to be going into the Sunset Tower and he was there, and I was like, oh, you don't look good. You look bad." And I gave him a big hug, and he smelled.
Yeah, well, you know, you could just tell by looking at him.
Well, what were you saying about the nose that you're?
I met him one time, and he had so much hair in his nose. I know it's a weird thing to notice, but that's how much it was. Shocking amounts of hair coming out of his nose.
Ugh,
a lot.
I gave him some nose clippers.
Like
I was like, "Clean yourself up, Maddie. You are tall. You have a great head of hair. You have too much hair in your nostrils, but come on."
Like, didn't he date Julia Roberts for a while there? Weren't they an item? Remember he was with Julia Roberts? That was like a big deal.
But she was on
Friends.
He was sober during that awkward reunion. But I felt like he was
a little off.
And I felt like he was such like I don't get enough attention. Like it was like a weird thing. Anyway, good for him. I mean, thank God he's sober.
When you're drinking and doing drugs that much, your mind is affected. And I think when you saw that reunion that was on.
This is an old picture of them. Look how different and that was before Jen Aniston got her nose done.
Well, they both look cute back then. Oh, yeah, look at that. Nose is a little different there.
Yeah. Good for her. No, he said, my therapist said, next time you think about taking Oxycontin, just think about having a colostomy bag for the rest of your life, Perry continued. And a little window opened, and I crawled through it, and I no longer want Oxycontin.
I bet that's probably a pretty good book, his new book that's coming out. That's what he's promoting.
Yeah. Everyone's dying over Taylor Swift's song, and I thought this was funny. So she did this song, and, and it's about her time of being 19 dating John Mayer. And she's got these Swiftie fans, and the Swiftie fan wrote John Mayer and wrote, "Fuck yourself, you ugly bitch. I hope you choke on something," the Swiftie named Alonda wrote. And then she kept signing that she wrote again, "Answer me, you bitch." So then he did. He wrote back, and I thought this was pretty brilliant. He goes, "Hi, Yolandra, it's John. I've been getting so many messages like these past couple days. I decided to choose your message at random to reply. You can feel free to screenshot, share it any way you want." Then he continued, "I'm not upset. I just tend to have a curious mind and feel compelled to ask, do you really hope that I die?" And then she wrote back, "Oh my God, what?
Yeah.
I don't want you to die." So
John Mayer's kind of a funny guy. See, handling it in a funny way.
I think that's handling it in a funny way. I always noticed when
John Mayer was our Pete Davidson, remember? He was the handsome guy who had like every one of the hot girls of that era.
Yeah.
It went from one to the next, to the next, to the next. He was like, yeah. Anyway.
I had one occasion where I kind of fucked with a hater.
Oh, yeah?
In a good way. I found out that this person had like ripped on me and was saying shit about me. And they had a very, very tiny podcast, but in the same realm of this world.
Okay.
And so I reached out and I was like, "Oh my God, I love your stuff. I'd love to have you on my podcast. You seem so funny." And I hope this person listens and realizes it. And then I was like, "Oh, wow. It was just brought to my attention that you did this podcast where you said horrible things about me. So I'm so sorry I put you in the position to ask you to be on my show. That would probably be so awkward for you. So, like, never mind."
Did they write you back?
Keep doing what you're doing. And I said, but, as a female podcaster, you probably shouldn't, like, shit on other female podcasters, but whatever. And she's like, fine, I don't know what you're talking about, but whatever. I think she might have been smart enough to kind of know what I was doing.
Yeah. That's pretty good, though.
But I was like, good. I hope you get all excited.
Yeah.
Thinking you're going to be on my show. And then I'm going to be like, no, look what you fucking did, bitch.
That's a long way to go.
That's like bored.
That's like your mother acting like Santa Claus had the reindeer in the house. I could see where genetically you guys are.
Listen, that was me 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Now I'm very good at just blocking, delete, block. I don't go and get their hype. Like, I don't fuck with them like I used to.
It's good
because that's a big waste of energy for me.
It is, and that is.
And I will admit that I did that
for you.
And I'll admit I did that. Like I did it once at Chelsea Lately too.
Oh no! Like somebody hated you and you told them, "Come on, Chelsea Lately."
I offered them free tickets to the show. And then I like screen grabbed the hate and was like, "Oh wow, I guess you wrote this like 2 weeks ago." I was going to have you come when I was on the panel. Obviously, that would be really. I would not want to put you through having to sit through the person you hate most on Chelsea Lately. Yeah. So never mind. And that person was probably really bummed about it.
I feel what's even worse than hate is what I get is I don't get much hate nor love. Like I don't instill any type of passion in people.
Right.
So maybe that's what you do. Like you get some hate because people are passionate about you.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Oh, you're saying you're not even interesting enough to hate?
Yeah, like exactly. Well, I always felt that on Chelsea Lately. Like you guys would all talk, I got hate. Like, I'm not, people are like, yeah, he's fine.
I actually have some great news for you.
Oh no. You got some hate?
This past week and all the hate that I got, like on comments of different awful TikToks that said lies about me, the only ones that said that mentioned any other person on the show that they also hate was you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
See, that
is
good.
No mention of Justin or Sarah, anything. It was just like, I hate her too, especially when she has that Chris Frangiola on.
Oh, see, that makes me feel... Actually, I'm not kidding. That makes me feel pretty good. It makes me feel like I got something out of somebody.
I had to stop listening after that Chris Frangiola came on.
I also say, that's only like when I do anything about Britney Spears or like Taylor Swift. It's like...
I feel like, did she just come back? Is Britney Spears... she like got rid of her Instagram. Then I went back to it recently. We just look, and it was just like... Not any of the naked stuff anymore and none of the spinning. But then I just thought I saw her spinning in yellow again.
Oh, really?
Which would have been from like 6 months ago. But
I can't.
Still naked.
Good news.
But
she's still
back?
naked.
She's back on?
She's still naked and spinning. Okay, I guess she took a break for like a week.
I'm concerned about her skin. I feel like she gets too sunburned in Hawaii.
Me too. I'm like,
and she's not like 25 anymore.
I'm like, who's ever taking the photo? Why are you not?
Yeah.
And listen, when we were growing up, I would do like 15 and then 8 and then 4 as I got tanner.
Oh.
You guys, it's 30 or forget it.
30 or forget it. I was a guy who...
You'll still get tan with 30.
I'm the same way. I mean, I grew up in an era of baby oil and go up on the roof with a reflective sheet.
We went to Cabo. Now, this is a long time ago, like 10, 12 years ago, together on Chelsea Lately. And I remember... You were not putting on sunscreen.
No.
And I was trying to be a friend. And you said, I want to look like, when I come back, like I went someplace.
I did.
That's what you said.
That used to be my angle. Yes. Yeah, I want to
have some color.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and look at me now,
Chris, tell everybody, besides listening to your hit podcast, Cover to Cover.
Cover to Cover is my podcast. Check it out.
Except for those two people.
Yeah, that's
from
fine.
TikTok.
I can take the hate.
And what other shows do you have coming up that they can see you at?
I got a Batavia, Illinois.
That sounds fun.
In Batavia, Illinois. It's a comedy vault in Batavia next weekend.
It's in
I'll
the
be
vault.
there.
Yeah.
November 4th, 5th, and 6th, something.
Fun.
And then I got Cobb's in San Francisco.
Oh,
just
before
one
our
night,
shows
December
together?
11th.
Oh,
yeah.
perfect. So in between you go to Cobb's. That'll
and then
be fun.
I got Atlanta, New Orleans, and then I'm done for the year. Atlanta, New Orleans.
Is that after we go?
Charlotte. Yeah,
Because you
December,
and you
December.
guys, okay, so you and I, the weekend before Thanksgiving weekend, we have Boston and then Philly and then 2 shows.
Which I didn't know about 2 shows in D.C. I
are
didn't
you
sign
gonna
up
do
for
now?
2 shows, but I'm saying that. Somebody wrote me the other day, like, should I get tickets for the first or the second show? And I was like, oh, I had no idea there were 2 shows. But
You know, if you're deciding first, second show to go to DC, maybe the second just so that you can have a nice dinner before.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
I'm
Have
excited
an
about
espresso
it.
martini at dinner. If you're like someone that you think it's too late, it won't be because
Mm-hmm.
we'll start, but it's the second show. Yeah. I'm very excited to be at that theater. That's like very prestigious.
The Kennedy
and that's
Center.
the end. And
I
then
know.
that's the end for me for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm going to book some stuff. I think the next thing I'm going to book is going to be somewhere around Southern California. I won't say where, but it'll be close.
Oh, really?
And
Oh,
then
that's
hopefully
nice.
Vegas again. And everyone really, really liked the shows.
It seemed like it. I got a lot of love from people at this
Everyone
Vegas
loved
show.
it, yeah.
And interestingly enough, I heard some people say because that concert we talked about was canceled due to the wind.
Yes.
I had several people write me because of that, because the concert was canceled. They made last minute arrangements to come to the live Juicy Scoop, not really knowing Juicy Scoop, and they said they loved it.
Wow, that's
3 different people.
That's really good.
I
Because
know,
I was
that's
like,
a good
I'm always
thing.
concerned that if you're not a hardcore Juicy Scooper,
Right.
it might be confusing or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I love hearing that, and I love it when someone's like, I brought my husband, and he still really liked it, even though he
Yeah.
doesn't listen to it a lot. I tried to make it not too inside, but it's pop culture stuff. So that's cool. That was great. Frangiola Fun. What is
Frangiola.fun. Charlotte's another place I got coming.
Frangiola.fun.
Charlotte, Mobile, Alabama. I'm doing one night in December.
Cool.
I might be a nightmare, but I'm driving from Atlanta, Mobile, New Orleans, and Charlotte. One night and out.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's
All right.
it.
Thanks. Bye.